Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh and very good morning to everyone. Actually, I'm still a learner, but for today, I would like to express my gratitude to the organizer for inviting me to share my research paper, our research paper actually, me and my supervisor, and the topic is the legality of medical cannabis from the Islamic perspective. Okay. All right. Currently, we know that Malaysian law prohibit the use of cannabis either recreationally or medically. Okay, due to desperate situation, some Muslim purchase cannabis illegally through the black market for self-medication without knowing what is the legal status of access of cannabis in Islam. So the objective for today is just want to share with you what is the legal position of cannabis and the extent of cannabis provision in Islam, especially in relation to medicinal use. And we will look into the debate between the school of thought, the classical school of thought, and what is the view of the contemporary Muslim scholars about this issue. Okay, before that, this is, okay, before that, the picture shows that I with a hemp plant, yeah. Before this, there is a confusion even on myself, yeah. The difference between hemp plant and marijuana, or what we call as ganja, yeah. Until when I was given the opportunity, join Myra to Thailand and see by myself. Okay, so now I know that there are various species of cannabis, and these are among the three main species: sativa, indica, and ruderalis. But for sativa, that what we actually focusing today, there are two types of plant, that is hemp and marijuana. Okay, before this, when I start my study under medical cannabis, I am not aware about the existence of hemp. Okay, I, like other people in Malaysia, thought that uh, uh, cannabis can cause intoxicant, but actually, like mentioned by uh, Encik Johan, we have hemp variety which is proven, yeah, uh, below 0.3% of THC, which means this variety is cannot cause intoxicant, and it is proven that the variety is actually beneficial, beneficial, cannot has a medical benefit. Okay, so for marijuana, we refer to ganja plant. Okay, so this is what we have in Malaysia. That's why people is confused between the two plant. Okay, so THC can cause a psychoactive effect. However, both plant has medical function, yeah, medical benefits. Okay, the good thing is that WHO in 2020 declared that CBD is safe as medicine. An expert committee or drug dependent reviewed the status of CBD and reported that CBD could not cause any man to be high or dependent or pose any threat to public health. Therefore, CBD is safe for human consumption. Okay. All right. So now we move to the debate on the legality of cannabis. Okay. Actually, when we talk about cannabis, the legal landscape of cannabis and cannabis products are very fragmented and complicated in Islam. Why? Because in Islam, there is no clear provision expressly prohibit the use of cannabis. Yeah. Um, in fact, during classical jurists, Imam Hanbali, Hanafi and Shafi'i did not discuss the legal position concerning cannabis usage because at that time it is still new and was not recorded during their era. So how actually the jurists come up with the the law, Islamic ruling or hukum in Arabic language. So we refer to original case which is available in the Quran. So what is the original case available in Quran is the prohibition to consume wine. That is very clear in the Quran, okay, that it is prohibited. So we look to the sunnah of the Prophet of Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the saying of the Prophet. It was narrated from Ibn Umar. The Prophet said that every intoxicant is wine and every wine is prohibited. Okay, in Arabic it's called khamru. So here the jurists make an analogy. The original case is wine. Wine can cause intoxicant. So a new case is cannabis. So whether they have same reason, so the reason is similar, that is cannabis also can cause intoxicant. So they apply the ruling in the previous case, that is under wine is prohibited, and they make a decision that under cannabis also the presumption is prohibited. Okay, so this is basically we refer to recreational cannabis. Okay, so here because of the method that they use by analogy or qiyas in Islamic legal principle, so Imam Zarkashi from Shafi'i scholar, Al-Hafiz Zayan ad-Din Al-Iraqi, Shafi'i scholar, Imam Ibn Zayan from Hanbali scholar, so they also argued that cannabis has similar legal status to wine, therefore it is forbidden for consumption due to intoxicating effect. However, interestingly, Imam Karafi argued that cannabis in Arabic the term as hashish is harmful but not an intoxicant substance like wine. Okay, why? Because according to Imam Karafi, cannabis actually provide fewer hazard than alcohol. Okay, so according to him, cannabis is prohibited because it is a harmful substance. So he made a different attempt to distinguish between consequences of drinking wine and consequences of drinking hashish. So he said that someone who drink alcohol might commit a crime, okay, and alcohol drinkers are more aggressive compared to hashish users who are calmer, lazy, always tired and love to sleep. Okay, so it is important to note that even though he argued that cannabis is not intoxicating, but he still say that cannabis is not permissible because of the harmful effect. Okay, and in fact Ibn Taymiyyah also make a statement about hemp. Hemp is actually known as bunch in Arabic. He firmly argued that although hashish or cannabis carry the same prohibition as wine, it should be prohibited due to its similar adverse effect. However, he said that the total prohibition only apply to hashish but not to hemp. He explained that hemp could not lead to intoxication, making it permissible and lawful. Okay. All right. So that is under general rule. Okay. So now we look into the exception to general rule. Can we use cannabis for medical purpose? Okay. This is the question. Okay. So here, when we refer to Risalat fil Hurmat al-Banj, okay, the authors apply strict rules and they stated that cannabis is prohibited for medical purpose because they hold the view cannabis can cause intoxicant. However, other Muslim jurists such as Hanafiya, Shafi'iyah, and also Hanabila recognize that certain amount of cannabis can be used for medicinal and it is permissible. Okay, why? Because they said that hashish was not similar to wine and therefore allowed to use al-hashish for medical purpose. It can be used as a mixture with other substance. And then Al-Zarkashi also stated that wine was not clean and therefore prohibited the use of wine and allowed the use of hashish but not for intoxication reason. Similarly, Al-Fashi jurist wrote that hashish is a medicinal substance compared to wine. Consuming it is not punishable, but it should be consumed only in a small amount as long as it will not affect someone's mind. So here we can see that the Muslim jurists make an exception. Cannabis can be used for therapeutic purposes. Even Al-Sharbini from Mazhab Syafi'i stated that the use of intoxicating active plant is permitted in the medical treatment, especially in the situation there is no other medicine, okay, can actually help the patient. So this what we call as under the doctrine of necessity, or in Islam they use the term darurah principle. Yeah, so under darurah principle it is permitted on the ground of medical necessity to generate amnesia for an amputation, okay, to use cannabis even in a small quantity. So in this situation, according to Islamic law, can we use cannabis for medical purpose? The answer is yes. On what ground? The first one is on the ground of necessity, okay? So under the doctrine of necessity, there are a lot of requirements to be fulfilled, but I only highlighted four. Number one, we must show that it is a really urgency, really emergency. That means if you cannot use cannabis, it might endanger your life and health, or your body might be worsened, okay? So the maxim actually related is necessities permit the unlawful lawful. So this is the fiqh principle, yeah. However, Wahbah Zuhaili, okay, according to him, the condition of the patient must be genuinely attested by a reputable, honest, experienced, knowledgeable physician. Okay, that means this condition, whether you really need cannabis or not, it must be certified by the doctor. And Wahbah Zuhaili also makes clear that self-diagnose their own extreme condition is not allowed. Self-medication, according to Wahbah Zuhaili, is not allowed. You need to go and consult the doctor. So this is the first condition. Second condition, there is evidence that when you use cannabis, it can help you, can cure you. The third condition, the use of medical cannabis must not create any harm, was worse than the harm that the cannabis is being taken. Okay, that's why we need a doctor. Doctor will know whether our body has any adverse effect or not when we consume cannabis as a medicine. And the next one is that the only reason why the jurists allow is because to protect life. Yeah, the illness that the patient suffers from is one which significantly threatens his life, and if a person cannot use cannabis as treatment, it may result in death or the patient condition may worsen. So these are the rules of necessity. And the jurists also use also another maxim, okay, in order to allow the use of cannabis for medical purpose, okay, the rule of necessity is based on the verse of the Quran, Surah Al-Baqarah verse 173 and also Surah Al-An'am verse 119, whereby if in a desperate situation, emergency situation, you are allowed to consume anything which is prohibited, yeah? Anything which is prohibited. And this is not sinful. Okay, so this is the rule. And the second ruling is when there is a conflict between two things that can cause damage, the greater damage has to be taken into account by committing less damage. So we know that cannabis can cause intoxication. That is one type of damage. But this damage is lesser compared to another damage. If that patient cannot consume cannabis, it may worsen his life. Okay, so in order to protect the life, so we can choose the lesser damage. We can actually consume it for medical purpose. Okay, so that is the opinion of the jurists under classical view. So now let's look on the view of contemporary scholars on medical cannabis. Because during the Islamic era, the scholars cannot actually identify the compound that is CBD and also THC. So what is the status of CBD in Islam? So modern Islamic scholars agree that the use of CBD is allowed in Islam. And Fiqh Council of North America 2021 ruled that CBD benefit have proven to be effective. Therefore, the consumption of CBD is permissible in Islam. Okay, the next scholar, Alzir, he also highlighted that CBD compound derived from a cannabis sativa plant in a pure and clean condition is lawful in industries, especially pharmaceutical as well as cosmetic product. So we can see that the contemporary scholar also allow the use of CBD other than medical purpose. That is, it can be extended to industrial product and also cosmetic product. Okay, how about THC? We know that THC can cause intoxicant. Is it permissible in Islam? Okay, we need to understand that THC also has a medical value to the patient, especially chronic pain patient or cancer patient. So, under Fiqh Council of North America, decided that THC is permissible in Islam on the ground of necessity. So here, according to the Fiqh Council, it allows medical cannabis to be used to treat illnesses when it is proven that has medical efficiency. And Fiqh Council also does not list any condition which is threat to life, and it depends, and he leave it to the doctors and patient relationship to determine, okay, to what extent that cannabis can contribute and save their life. Yeah? Okay, so now we know that both classical and contemporary scholars agreed that cannabis can be used and consumed for medical purpose. But you must be cautious, yeah? Alzir 2020 and the Fiqh Council of North American 2021 warn the danger of purchasing an approved form of medical cannabis. Okay? Because the problem in Malaysia is very sad. The patient is not allowed to access cannabis, yeah? Not yet, yeah? Therefore, this desperate patient, they don't have choice. They actually purchase it from black market. So in this situation, they need to be very careful, because when it's something you purchase from the black market, it is not approved from Ministry of Health. So according to the past research, is highlighted that, for example, CBD online products have questionable product quality, mislabeling and misleading information. Okay, that's the main problem. Yeah. So pity to the patient. Yeah, they do not know that this product might not be a genuine product. Yeah, genuine CBD. The purity of cannabis-based product, either CBD or THC, is the main concern of the jurists, because it also affects the halal status. Okay, we do not know whether it contains pesticide, okay, or any chemical compound. Research has shown that among the occurrences that were irresponsible seller has labeled the product to contain CBD, but the actual test revealed that the product did not contain CBD at all. Okay. Consequently, another study highlighted that CBD and medical cannabis-based product carry contaminants and harmful substance to a human body. For example, Rich and Montoya revealed that the cannabis that they purchased, okay, were found to have contained microorganisms, including Salmonella, E. coli, pesticide. So this is something which is very harmful to our body, and it is pity to this patient who do not know the truth. They purchase it, the CBD, and consume, thinking that this product can actually give benefit to them. A research study conducted by Gardner, this is the latest study, 2022, has found that many CBD products are inaccurately labeled with high level of heavy metals contamination found in a significant number of US products. The study analyzed 121 edible CBD products, yeah, and from the products, 42 of the US sample contain lead, 8% had cadmium, and 28% had arsenic, whereby 37% had mercury. Lead is a toxic substance to which there is no safe level of exposure, according to the WHO. Okay, this is something that Malaysia need to think. We need to protect the right of patient in Malaysia who really need cannabis. So we need to have open mind and allow access to them. Yeah. Okay. So the next one, how about in Malaysia? Whether we have fatwa in this regard? Okay, recently a new fatwa was issued by the Mufti of Federal Territories, and it was officially published on 9 November 2022, stating that it is permissible to use cannabis for medicinal purpose. Okay, so this is very bold action. I congratulate Majlis Fatwa for this. Decision to address the fatwa is courageous, bold act that will ease Muslim concern about the use cannabis for therapeutic purpose. However, the fatwa define cannabis as hemp-type plant only. So there is still a loophole for the fatwa to looking on the other aspect. How about THC, which is derived from marijuana plant? So according to the fatwa, there are 3 conditions need to be fulfilled in order to make it permissible. Number 1, must obtain approval from the relevant authorities. Endorsement from 2 medical professionals. So this is in line with what stated by the previous juries, that there must be a doctor, prescribe the cannabis to you, and the cannabis is not used for unlawful purpose. So this is the fatwa. Okay. How about hemp cultivation? Okay, the Penang State Fatwa Committee also decided hemp cultivation for research purposes, medical health need and commodities is permissible. However, it must be subject to strict control and supervision so that it is not misused for harmful purposes and violation in Malaysian law. So this is I with my partner, my member, visiting hemp plant at Chiang Rai, Thailand. And that one is one of the machine to analyze cannabis and to produce a very good CBD product. Yeah. So I actually congratulate Thailand. Yeah, the first in Asia legalize cannabis for medical purpose, and we really hope that Malaysia will soon follow this step. Yeah. And in conclusion, it can be concluded that Muslim jurists agree with the consensus access to recreational cannabis is prohibited. But for medicinal purpose, most Muslim jurists agree that it is permitted on the ground of Darurah principle. And contemporary jurists also suggest that THC-based medicine may be considered necessary due to their potential to save life, which is one of the 5 key objectives of Islamic law. Okay, one of the key is to protect life. Yeah, life is very precious. So it also permissible to consume CBD as it cannot cause hysteria, addiction. However, Muslim must cautious in selecting CBD product to ensure their purity, quality and safety. Therefore, access to medical cannabis is in line with Islamic value, provided that all the condition of necessity is fulfilled. So again, we need a patient to consult a doctor before he decide to use cannabis as a medicine, because the doctor can advise how much the dose, what is the side effect, and the doctor can advise start with the low dosage. Yeah. Okay. Thus, it can be deduced that self-medication, self-diagnosis and self-purchase from the black market are forbidden in Islam. The availability of medical cannabis product in the illegal market is also doubtful content and may be adulterated with harmful substances that are prohibited in Islam. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mrs. Ekmil, for that very insightful presentation. Now we still have some time for your session. Now to our audience, if you have any questions you'd like to ask, we have time for Mrs. Ekmil here to address your questions. We have the microphone in the center.
Waalaikumsalam, Prof. Tak berapa jelas
Yeah. I'm Professor Hussein.
Ya, Prof.
I'm an addiction psychiatrist who currently working as a head of school in Universiti Masa. But before this, I was in Universiti Malaya as a senior professor and as an addiction psychiatrist. But now I still doing my practice as an addiction psychiatrist in the Universiti Malaya Specialist Center. Congratulations for your talk and the coverage about the Islamic perspective. Definitely, we have been quite some time wanted to look into what you have been highlighted. Actually, my interest is also looking into the Islamic perspective. And if you look into the historical of golden age of Islam, that is when a lot of discoveries were happening during that time. And one of the discovery that is used is the use of opiate. There was never in the past before that any one except during that golden age of Islam under Harun al-Rashid were using opiate. And if you look into the addictive potential, opiate is worse than the addictive potential of even THC. And as a result of that, the openness of the Islamic ruler at that time, we are the first to use, to operate on major surgical procedures. So what does it tell us? It tells us that, our ulama must work together with the scientists, with the medical practitioners, so that they are more open-minded. And so that such a gifted drug like CBD can be used for medical purposes. I've been using CBD, especially to treat autism spectrum disorder, those who are aggressive, violent. But the sad part of it, because there is still a prohibition of use. So very sad to say, the family has to resort into product which is very, very expensive. It's not black market. They bought it from UK, from Hong Kong, and other places, even China. The first Asia country which actually produce a lot of cannabis are the Chinese. Chinese from China. So I think I suppose the today's forum is a very important platform for us to try to convince the Home Ministry please give us license. Maybe we are not straight away talking about planting the hemp, but maybe to allow for the ready-made product that is standardized, that is probably less expensive. And this is where probably we can buy this product from Thailand instead of our family have to go all the way to UK and buy the product, which is very, very expensive. And what is important here, after talking to some of those enforcement officers, they're still not convinced that about the misuse. Even despite we're telling, we are never condone recreational use. We never want CBD or any what you call THC product to be used as recreational. We want to focus into medical. We want to make sure that the diagnosis is made by the doctors, the specialists who are actually into the treatment. And we are definitely want to be very sure that it's only for medical. It goes similar with morphine. It goes similar with what we are using now, you know, which is much more potent compared to heroin that is on the street. In fact, I'm the first to introduce methadone program in Malaysia. And it took me 15 years to convince the government to finally embark on methadone. 15 years. And again, the problem why there is a barrier because of the misconceptions. And it was until, you know, we managed to get the signature from Tun Abdullah Badawi, who was Prime Minister at that time. So there's a lot of this issue that we are experiencing. But now we see, as a result of that program, our HIV and AIDS among heroin users gone down to almost 0.05 from 85%. In 1990, when I was trying to convince the government, it was 85% intravenous drug users were HIV and AIDS positive, but now it goes down to 0.03%. So it goes similar here. If we can we can have this license, we can help not only patients who have what you call autism spectrum disorder, but we can use for resistant epilepsy, we can use for chronic pain disorder, we can also use to manage depression and anxiety. So we hope that there is a pathway from here whereby our Islamic scholar like your good self will be able to convince the policymaker so that we can expedite and get the license for us to bring medical cannabis, and definitely it will be benefiting a lot more of our patients. Because now it's only the rich who can actually access to all this treatment. The poor are deprived from getting all this treatment. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prof, for the
Thank you.
comment.
Thank you so much, Prof, for sharing as well your efforts, continuous efforts from the 90s in your effort on advocating. Now, we still have some time to take maybe one more question from the audience. Just state your name and your question. One. No, thank you so much, Mrs. Ekmil, for that insightful presentation.
Thank you.